I've turned on the microphone, so we are good.
We are live.
You got that Dexter, I gave up serial killing but moved to Canada for a while vibe going?
I really don't appreciate that comparison. How dare you out me to the police line? No, I'm kidding.
For legal reasons, that was a joke.
And also for all of the other reasons.
No one can know. Oh, thank fuck we have 0 viewers. Oh, fuck, we have 0 viewers.
Okay. Hopefully we'll get more people on. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go.
Consistency and a few breakout chances is what it'll take.
Yep, exactly.
And if there's one thing we're good at, it's random strokes of luck.
Yes. Yeah, if I do end up getting like a text message from a couple of people asking, it's like, hey, is your stream on? For some people that we know who watch. Like, yeah, no, it is. We're streaming right now.
When you have been exposed, killing some of your pursuers will make it easier to escape.
We're so close to unlocking dialogue in the Animus.
I know.
I can't wait for subtitles, man.
We're also so close to unlocking the most useful power-up of all, being Italian.
I mean, considering what it gave Da Vinci,
Yeah, that's
Being
true.
Italian is enough of an upgrade to let us swim.
it might be the absolute worst way to word it, but yeah,
Yeah.
I can't say he's wrong.
I am technically
sense of
correct,
success
which is,
about you,
as we
brother.
know, the best kind of correct.
I've learned much about our enemy.
Share your knowledge then. Let us see what can be done with it.
Robert and his Templars walk the city. They've come to pay their respects to Majd-ud-Din. They'll attend his
Yes, they can
funeral,
actually say
which means
respect.
so will I.
What is this that Templars would attend his funeral?
I have yet to divine their true intentions, though I'll have a confession in time. Citizens themselves are divided.
God, the
Many
wind
call
in
for their
Jerusalem
lives.
in this year
Still
must
others
have been
insist that they are
fucking
here to
weird.
parlay. To make
Look what
peace.
it does to his
Peace?
clothes.
I told
It,
you.
it must be
The
like
others
when
I've
you have,
slain
like, you
said
know,
as much to me.
that like
them
proper
our
like
allies.
U-shaped thing where you get
And
like
yet
just
we
a
killed
little
them.
tiny bit of wind
Make no
that creates those
mistake,
little mini
we're
leaf
nothing
tornadoes
like
Oh, yeah.
that
in
makes
front of
sense.
like
Sounds noble,
a
the means by which
doorway.
they'd
And
achieved
it's just
enough.
occurring right directly
That's what
beneath
Alualim
his
told
cheek.
me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is your
Well,
plan?
you know, he's on the edge of
I'll
it,
attend the
obviously.
funeral and confront Robert.
Localized entirely within
The
this
sooner
room.
the better.
Can I see it?
No.
Fortune favor your blade, brother.
Malik, before I go, there's something I should say.
Be out with it.
I've been a fool.
Normally I'd make no argument, but what is this? What are you talking about?
All this time, I never told you I was sorry. Too damn proud. You lost your arm
This is
because
the
of me.
cutscene.
Yeah.
Lost
Yeah.
your brother.
That's
I kind of thought so,
had every
and I
right
thought
to
that's
be
what you said.
angry.
That's
But I
why
do
meant to.
specifically remember this part here where you apologized.
understand.
Because it was the
Character
only part we
development.
paused and listened to.
Okay, I listened to
I do
all
not
of it.
accept your
This is the only part I
apologies. You are
commented
not the
on
same
because
man
this
who
part
welcomed
was
me
character
into
development,
Salomon's temple. And so you have nothing to apologize for.
which is technically still legal.
Perhaps if I had not been so envious
Sure.
of you,
At least for 2 more
would have
games.
myself. I'm just as much to blame.
Well, see,
Don't
because
say
it's
such
right now
things.
it's legal, but it becomes
We are one.
mandatory when we hit the
As we share the
RPG
glory of our
subsystems
victories,
Oh,
so
yeah, that's
too
fair.
should
of
we
game.
share the pain of
Character
our
development
defeat.
is no longer
In this
optional.
way, we grow
I
closer.
see.
We grow stronger.
Thank you,
Do
brother.
any of the games let you yodel?
Rest if you need to, Altair.
Yeah. I don't
But you
know.
might be ready for what
I
lies
don't
ahead.
think so, at least not as of yet.
This is a terribly made series. Why are we even playing it?
Fast forwarding memory. to a
Because we
more
can.
recent one.
That's fair.
If we had viewers, that would be taken so out of context. All right. We just apologized. The closest thing we have to a friend in this world. Time to go back to the murder.
It's been a moide.
He's an assassination target.
When did Altair start operating in New York?
I don't know. Oh,
I was gonna say I don't even think the assassins operate in the New World at this point,
probably not. Yeah.
but I'm actually not sure if that's true because around this point I think they do
Wow. Wow.
the fact you managed to not get injured and hit yourself 3 times on the way down, that's skill.
Rude.
You have mastered the art of falling, finally. You can move on to step 2.
Falling with style.
Oh, I thought step 2 was landing. No, according to lesson plan, that's step 8. How is there 7 steps before we get to landing?
Okay, see, the thing is that you forgot steps 2 through 10.
Where do those go among steps 1 through 7?
Very carefully.
Do any of them come before step 1?
The one where we cut off his head.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah. Should have guessed that one.
Yeah, fair. Ooh-wee.
And then, of course, you know, the next step is the one where we lay down and bleed to death.
I thought mud crabs more fearsome than you. You don't need to be a Khajiit to say it.
What did I hear that?
It would be so much
Oblivion.
easier to kill
Well,
when
You
you're
heard it in
dead.
Oblivion.
No, I know. But specifically, I remember some like a really janky, like, you know, you know, vocal, like, you know, remix thing that made really excellent use. And I specifically remember the mud crabs more fearsome than you line in it going really hard. And now I'm trying to remember, where did I find this video and how can I find it again?
Probably one, either a Vine, a TikTok, or one of the children of Dagoth Way.
But you should not. For just as we are all brought forth from the womb, so too must
I'm gonna have to probably do some research after stream and see if I've got this locked away in a random bookmark somewhere.
Natural,
Fair.
like the rising and the setting of the sun. Take this
At this point, I have too many bookmarks to actually go through my bookmarks and try to find something.
Well,
I think I've got like 900 spread across like
No!
about 9 folders, so it shouldn't be
I've got
bad.
so many more than that, but I do have at least reasonably subdivided to the point where I can usually guess it's in one of these couple folders. And I
thing
can
is,
also
I delete my book.
tag search a little bit.
I delete my everything every like 3 years or so.
Oh, I never do that.
So that's only the past like 3 years of bookmarks, plus a few that have survived the purges over the years. I've got a few that I somehow have backed up, I guess. Might be connected to my Google account. Anyway, some of them come back, like parasites. I just haven't figured out how to get rid of yet.
You should see a doctor of diagnostic medicine about that.
For my computer?
Yes.
Yeah, go to malpractice hospital. Get seen by malpractice doctors.
I think John Mulaney's recent stand-up talked about something like that. He's got a great method of finding the worst possible doctors in your area. It's really impressive. He basically says if you want to find drugs, go on any of the popular like doc sites and then search from 1 star.
Bring him forward that
I see.
justice might be done.
He spent like
Actually, I don't.
15 minutes on this bit.
I think you made somebody angry.
Oh no, he announced that we were here, so they were doing a whole thing.
Yeah, and because of that, you've made them angry.
You shouldn't have let him talk. You should have just assassinated him. You're failing to live up to the standards of grand assassination shows. I'm really glad you're at the point where you're like decently confident in this game. So when we finally go over 2, it's gonna look so much worse.
Nicely done, guys. Nicely done. Archer
Masterful.
and Archer shot at their own guy. Nicely done.
Truly, they're heroes.
Get his ass.
Take care of these archers, they're being annoying.
You'll never get away.
Okay, whatever. Whatever, dude.
Wow, in this three-way duel, you probably... Well, that happened.
He just disappeared into over there.
Hulu, your skills at assassination are so powerful. You can erase somebody from existence, killing their very being.
Or he can teleport. And I kind of believe the teleport.
There we go.
I would see your eyes before you die.
I sense you expected someone else.
What sorcery is this?
No sorcery. We knew you'd come. Robert needed to be sure he'd have time to get away.
So he flees.
We cannot deny your success. You have laid waste to our plans. First the treasure, then our men. Control of the Holy Land slipped away. But then he saw an opportunity to reclaim what has been stolen, to turn your victories to our advantage.
Al-Mualim still holds your treasure, and we've routed your army before. Whatever Robert plans, he'll fail again.
Ah, but it's not just Templars you'll contend with now.
Speak sense.
Robert rides for Arsa to plead his case that Saracen and Crusader unite against the Assassins.
That will never happen. They have no reason to.
Had, perhaps. But now you've given them one. 9, in fact. The bodies you've left behind, victims on both sides. You've made the Assassins an enemy in common and ensured the annihilation of your entire order. Well done.
Not 9. 8.
What do you mean?
You are not my target. I will not take your life. You're free to go, but do not follow me.
I don't need to. You're already too late.
We'll see.
You're already too late.
Classic.
Okay, it'd be way funnier if you immediately tried to kill her again.
Right. Hey guys, come with me.
Don't let him get away!
Don't let him get away! Oh, I think you're letting him get away.
Getting away is one of our many specialties.
Oh, I didn't want to climb up there.
You almost snuck by him. That would have been really impressive if it was, either successful or intentional, to be honest.
Pro strats.
Alright, bye.
I actually believe the expression of surprise on his face underneath the helmet.
You'll never get away! He's going to hurt us. Stay on him!
Block them for me, thank you.
Not gonna lie, I completely forgot she existed.
I remember there being I remember there being one assassin target who is not supposed to be like the actual assassin target. I didn't remember which one it was.
I remembered it happened. I didn't remember it was a girl.
Yeah, same here.
I'm trying to remember if she actually survives this game or not.
I think she does, but I don't think she becomes like a character or anything.
I think she might come back in a minor role.
Yeah, I think she comes back in like a
handheld game, maybe?
Probably.
Uncertain.
It was a trap.
I had heard the funeral turned to chaos. What happened?
Robert de Sable was never here. He sent another in his stead. He was expecting me.
You must go to Al-Mualim.
There's no time. She told me where he's gone, what he plans. If I return to Masyaf, he might succeed. And then, I fear we'll be destroyed.
We have killed most of his men. He cannot hope to mount a proper attack. Wait, did you say she?
Yes, it was a woman. Strange, I know. But that's for another time.
Strange,
For
I
now,
know.
we must focus on Robert.
Who even
We may
heard
have
of a
thinned his
woman?
ranks, but the
Does such
man
a
is
thing even
clever.
exist?
He goes to plead his case to Richard and Salah ad-Din, to unite them against the common enemy. Against us.
Surely you're mistaken.
Does he have
This makes no sense. These
I'll
two
tell you
men would
right.
never.
He's been
but
in
That would
quite a
explain
lot
why they had
more.
so much trouble with these memories in the
Men
animus
I've
at
killed,
first.
Men on both sides.
All
of
the brain
conflict.
damage.
Men important to both leaders. Robert's plan may be ambitious, but
I
it
wonder if
makes
brain
sense.
damage would affect
and it
these
could
genetic
work.
memories, actually.
Look, brother. Things have changed.
Oh,
Because they're supposed
You
to be,
must
like,
return to Masyaf. We cannot act without our
buried
master's
in the
permission.
genetics, not
They could
necessarily
compromise the
formed in the
Brotherhood.
brain,
I
right?
thought
The pseudoscience
Yeah.
gets confused
Stop
once
hiding
you go
behind
DNA
words,
level, I
man.
guess.
You wield the creed and its tenets like some
hey,
shield.
this is where the
He's
whole
keeping
suspension
things from
disbelief
us.
comes into play.
Important
Yeah.
things.
I mean,
You were the one told
we
me we
have
could
models
never
of
know
ideas.
anything, only
We have
suspect.
ideas that would
Well, I
allow
suspect
like
this
like
business with the
genetic,
Templars goes
Yeah.
deeper.
like
When I'm done
what
with
is it?
Robert, I'll
Children
arrive from
of
Masyaf that we may have
one of the
answers.
Children of Time
But
books
perhaps
by
you could
Adrian
go now.
Chavarsky
I cannot leave the city.
Then walk amongst its people. Seek out those who
proposes
served
a
the
sort
ones I
of
slew. Learn
alternative
what you can. You call yourself perceptive.
to DNA
Perhaps you'll see
that
something
serves
I
as a
could
much
not.
better data
don't
storage
know.
system. It's a fascinating book.
I must
Children
think
of
on
Ruin,
this.
I think, is the one
Do as
that
you
does
must,
it.
my friend.
Oh.
But it's time I ride for our suit.
No, okay, no, that was
Every
a different
moment I
book I'm
delay,
thinking of. No,
our
never
enemy
mind.
gets one
Sapient
step ahead.
spiders, sapient octopi, and
careful,
sapient
brother.
ravens.
I will be.
If any of those sound familiar.
No, it was a different thing I was thinking of then.
Yeah, it definitely goes more on the harder side of sci-fi. It's still pretty fantastical, obviously, but
Oh. Alright.
fair. It's a great series. I recommend it.
Alright.
Lately, though, I've been reading the Big Book of Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah, okay. I've heard that one.
Yeah, a lot of big books of topics out there.
Yeah.
The Cyberpunk one explores multiple collaborations. So a couple names show up a few times. It also opens up each section, which is divided into the influence technology has in cyberpunk settings on various aspects of society.
What?
At the start of the meet, she starts with something that isn't a cyberpunk story. One of the progenitors that led into the cyberpunk, with stuff leaning into stuff written by people like William Gibson in the
Oh, yeah.
early '80s.
Yeah.
The first story actually is one of Gibson's. The B something effect conundrum. Basically, a guy's driving across America and he keeps hallucinating the 1980s that could have been if all of the 1930s architects and idealists had actually.
Oh, yeah. That sounds familiar.
You think you've read it?
I don't think I've read it, but I remember hearing about it.
But yeah, it was one of his one of the early precursors to Cyberpunk. Honestly, all the stories in
I
there
think
are
I
really
probably,
good.
I think I probably heard about it in relation to the history of Cyberpunk.
Probably. Yeah, because this is the guy who wrote Neuromancer as well.
Yeah.
Neuromancer I'm familiar with as being one of the foundational
Yeah, William Gibson.
precursors to some of that.
Yeah, William Gibson's writing pretty much raised the question of all the questions Cyberpunk was
I
asking.
read something else by him. I might be mixing up with somebody else from kind of like the
He was
early-
pretty prolific, and he did both short and long stories.
I'd have to look up a listing of like the stuff that he's done, to really be sure. It might just be something that I have like on my shelf that I've seen the name of enough to remember, but didn't read
That
it.
makes sense, yeah. But yeah, he what was I saying? Early precursor. Right, he raised a lot of the questions that the next few decades of Cyberpunk would find their way to answering.
I actually totally forgot where we're supposed to go.
We're not heading back to Masyaf.
I read the thing that we were supposed to do, and now I am blanking, and so I'm going to have to just go to an area and pull up the map.
Fingers crossed. Don't worry. Once we figure out what we were supposed to be doing, I'll say I told you so in a comment.
Okay, ours. Okay.
I told you so.
Wait, please. Oh wait, I'm actually in the right. Yeah, because I'm supposed to go there. Right. So I had to go to the kingdom anyways.
But yeah, I've been taking notes all throughout the book. I think I might actually end up doing a video on it. Might do a deep dive review of the entire thing.
There.
understandable.
It's weird with me and taking notes on books because like I very rarely do it because I just keep everything in my mind.
So I make notes in the books these days. If I own the book, I just get a red pen and start. And literally every single paragraph in the first 50 pages or so has at least one sentence underlined or one phrase marked.
Yeah, my dad is pretty similar when it comes to that regard.
I'm not normally that way, but this one really got my brain going in every which
For
direction.
me, I can't do it.
Can't desecrate a book or can't take notes.
Well, both. Technically, no. I'm not much for note taking, but I just don't write into books. Just can't. I don't like the the damaging. Like, you didn't find. I understand why some people do, especially with certain kinds of things, textbooks, cookbooks. A lot of people work with that. Like, I just can't do it.
Like, I should take more notes with some of the books that I've read, especially if I have more thoughts to it, so that way I at least have it written down, so in case I forget it.
So, I take notes for two reasons. Well, three reasons really, but they're really just two. One, because I just like taking the notes. I like having the thoughts down. I like knowing what I was thinking and why I was thinking it in the moment I first read it.
And that's kind of why I want to actually sit down and take notes more, is because of that.
Two, some of my favorite books I've ever read in my entire life have been books that were heavily annotated by the previous owner. Because then every time they say something, normally I respond with something in the right under them in reaction to it. So it creates this dialogue for whoever next gets their hands on the book.
Alright, bye.
Which I find, because I think that's the coolest thing. There's like billions of people alive. Many people are dying every second, every day.
You hit a horse. How dare you?
Mm-hmm. And people you've never met, being able to communicate with them from years apart.
Yeah, and
especially when you do meet them in real life.
I kind of respect that there's a reason why I think that kind of annotation makes a really interesting storytelling from an outside perspective, Mm-hmm. But all the same, it's just one of those things that kind of, just writing into like a book just kind of feels, very viscerally just weird to me.
Yeah, the thing that got me started on it was one of the old Star Wars books. Hey, Undead Monkey. One of the old the Jedi and Sith Code books where it has the annotations by all the characters.
Because I don't see that format often, and you lent me your copy of the...
Yeah, I started taking notes in the Jedi one right before I lent it to you, actually. But no, prior to that, I'd mostly done it in like my copy of the Iliad I had for my one of my college classes. Pretty much just college textbooks, actually, and non.
Okay, well,
non. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if I had actually written down and taken notes the first time I read through the entirety of Les Miserables, that would have been the pretty neat thing.
That's fair.
Nah, I can imagine that'd be a fun one to do it with.
Yeah.
Well, fun.
I'm definitely, like, I still remember quite a lot about the book, but there's definitely a lot of things that I don't. And, so I do want to, basically what I'm saying is, I want to go and reread it again, and it would have been nice to have been able to look up a document and be like, oh yeah, what do I think about certain things and how do I think about it now? And I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah, one thing I like about...
I mean, aren't we all going the wrong way when you really think about it?
I mean, yeah,
Except
that's
me.
one of our big societal issues of the time.
Yeah.
See, we need to get the Earth's magnetic field rotated in the opposite direction. Once we get that fixed, I think every other problem we have will go away.
That sounds about right.
So you're telling me the whole problem is the whole planet, the feng shui is just off.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
the vibes are off.
Climbing on buildings, however.
No, this
not.
is still AC1. We're hoping to get to the end of it by this stream.
That's the ideal plan, is to finish the last part of the end, because we are fairly close to the end. We know that.
Yeah.
The ideal situation is to finish it here, wrap up, get to the end. Partly to finish it, enjoy it, see the ending, all that jazz. Also, this frees us up to do some other planned stuff in the future here. And of course, let's move on to Assassin's Creed 2, where we have subtitles. Woo! In addition to playing as Ezio, who is perhaps the coolest character in the series. It's a little debatable because there's a lot of personal preference involved, depending on who you ask. But I think it's very rare that he's not in the top 3.
Yeah,
for anybody you
in the post Assassin's Creed 3 world, or maybe 4. I feel like Desmond's gotten a lot more popular as one of the major characters, especially with the logs that these guys have. I keep calling them Asbestos Company in my head.
Abstergo. But asbestos is fine. Well, I mean, it's not fine, but...
Anyway, the Abstergo guys. After the events of Desmond play out, they keep those
They
records.
almost moved and it got canceled because it turned out there was shitloads of asbestos.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
I remember that story actually. No, anyway, the logs they keep of Desmond really kind of recontextualize a lot of his characterization because it's full of voice entries from him.
That's great.
And it's sort of a final farewell to his character as they move on to different stories in the universe.
Yeah.
And I noticed his popularity seemed to skyrocket pretty much as soon as I started seeing those like 4-hour YouTube videos that dive into this sort of thing. So it might just be I'm in the right crowds these days.
Don't me.
To find the Desmond stands.
That's understandable, I suppose. We'll get to see all of the
you
all
son of
aspects
a
of
gun.
Desmond by the end of our stuff here. But I do think Desmond does become especially over the course of 2 and into 3, you do get to see a lot of extra parts. I think he does have minimal characterization in this game.
Yeah, but a lot of it is because it's
But
introduction.
you do get more as
Also,
which is nice.
it's worth noting a decent amount of his characterization is found in Altair.
Yeah.
When Altair expresses something, at least in this one, a lot of the implication is sort of Desmond's Desmond's responding in a similar way, more directly than you'd expect in the later games.
It is also true, but
Plus, the other breakout moment for Desmond is Ezio's final moment,
Yeah.
which is ways away, but it ends up essentially being a dialogue between the two characters.
Yeah, which I did say, once we get into the 2, and also of course, the spin-offs to 2.
Yeah. Brotherhood.
The interquels between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Are where we really get the deep dive into Desmond that kind of leads into 3. So it makes sense on that. So yeah, he is definitely popular. But I think of the assassins, of the historical protagonists, Ezio was a favorite when he came out, and he is still consistently a top favorite for most people who played.
I mean, even in setting, he's one of the favorite assassins of the
That
order.
too.
Yeah.
It's all for the same kinds of reasons, He's cool, he's awesome, he's fun.
He's the teacher.
Yeah, it's like, of the stuff I've seen so far, for me, it's like, alright, I think maybe the Greek ones are maybe a little cooler to me, but like, it's a pretty tight race, and that's
Hey guys.
so that's
Bye
with me
guys.
not having, finished, wow, that was some whack-ass jumping animations. Those guys just, like, drifted down.
Oh, they did.
We'd be in Tokyo now, boys.
But yeah. I think
I don't
it's
see
pretty
any
rare.
cars
you
around
can-
though.
I think it's pretty rare you can ask anybody and not have Ezio be a top 3.
Oh yeah, no, Ezio's definitely top 3. Desmond's probably sits in the top 5, I think, these days.
Probably.
That's low enough where he's no one's favorite, but high enough where he's like, everyone likes him.
I think a lot of people like the Black Flag guy, from my understanding.
Oh,
I haven't
yeah.
played enough of it to know myself.
Black Flag guy's pretty popular.
I do know, of course, that Cassandra and her brother, that I can never remember the name of.
Let's be real, Cassandra's the popular one.
Cassandra Alexander, maybe? Alexandros? Something like that.
That sounds vaguely right.
Something kind of along those lines. The 2 of them are also very popular. I know. I don't know as many details. But I think people liked the Ragnarok protagonist.
Oh, they did.
I haven't seen anything about it specifically, but I just get that vibe.
Yeah,
But that might just be because people like Vikings.
True.
That's why I'm interested in it. That's why I've been playing God of War 4 lately.
It helps that they get to live out their Ragnar Lothbrok fantasies.
Yeah. Speaking of, God of War 4 has been fun. Getting a little further into that.
Nice.
This game is long.
Yeah, I heard the newer ones are significantly longer.
Which I understand. It's part of kind of like it's very much a genre shift in every way, but it maintains a lot of through-line elements from the original still, so it still very feels like a spiritual sequel in a lot of ways, despite the different structure.
Yeah, it's made for people who were emo in their teenage years and are now emo dads. That's the target demographic.
Basically, though, I think I like the changes from the start. There's a few specific bits that I don't like about it, at least as I'm pointing out right now, which mostly has to do with like some awkward stuff with the like RPG elements. You have stats on gear, and you have like different gear that you get new drops and stuff that you progress from chests and rewards from stuff.
I played RPGs. Yeah.
Standard stuff there. The main thing though is in addition to the specific stats on gear, because there'll be things like, oh, this boosts your axe damage, this boosts your special attack damage, this boosts your defense, this boosts your cooldown reduction, that stuff like that. You got 4 stat gear.
Just kill everybody.
I was hoping.
But there's also sort of an arbitrary level.
They have an excuse to make the walls not invisible. Of course they're gonna have invisible walls everywhere.
I know.
Yeah, there's an arbitrary level stat on gear, basically, that affects your total power level as a character, which directly multiplies damage taken and dealt based on your level relative to enemy level. I'm never a fan of that kind of progression to it. It always feels a little forced to me, like, okay, I don't mind individual gear stats affecting you directly, because that's very tangible. The way it interacts, you can say, oh, I want to take less damage, I should get more defense, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact is, like, you just have an arbitrary scaling. Like, my understanding is that it's something like, okay, look, if an enemy's like 3 levels above you, it deals double and takes half, kind of thing. I don't know the scaling numbers, but
something like that.
And that's just based on the arbitrary level. It's kind of like what Destiny does, and I hate the light level thing that Destiny does.
Does it at least follow like
Okay, my name's not Jim, it's actually Altair, but still.
explicitly higher quality material type stuff, or
It's
is it
just the further you get in the game, items will be higher. You can upgrade them a
so
little bit.
there's no
There's, like,
implication in game that's like, oh, this axe is made of a higher quality material?
Well, okay. You keep the same axe the whole time. It's a special weapon.
You get what I mean.
Yes. It does. There does seem to be a loose implication, at least in like broader stuff. There's equipment rarities and stuff. Like the early game things are kind of interchangeable, random stuff. But
Old school RPG where it doesn't specify.
it's like, oh, here's your
Thank you. I'm glad someone could answer the question.
here's your boar skin armor. Here's your steel plate armor thing or whatever.
Which moves me on to my point. I'll say it to you since you're the one who's answering the questions on this game he's talking about.
I was getting to.
That's not the way he tells it.
My point was, that means it doesn't even make the effort of disguising the system in the most... disguising the arbitrariness of the system. It sounds like beyond the most basic level, because it doesn't even do the fluff justification of it. Which is part of the reason I hate it and stuff like Destiny. Like, Dragon Age mechanically does a pretty similar thing, except your weapons you start with an iron axe, eventually silverite or whatever.
Yeah.
So it feels better when games like that, when games do that.
There's a little bit of an element to that. It's like I'm saying, the low-level stuff's all kind of interchangeable regardless of like what type of material it is. My understanding is you get to things that are like more mythic feeling with like the higher level, higher power armor tiers. It's just that during like the first half of the story, it's like all interchangeable. Like if you're like an MMO, it's like all the like mid-quality greens you just use while you're leveling, you don't care about them. But then it starts progressively scaling in a way that feels meaningful as you go, and you go from wearing like. Okay, I'm sorry.
It sounds like an MMO at this point.
It kind of uses sort of a similar sort of progression from my understanding, at least in the basic games.
I think some other single player games use this.
Yeah, it's like
I know.
You get a whole bunch of like. I think also part of it is for players who aren't exploring as much. There's like I've collected like 4 different sets of like kind of green armor with like various middling stats that are basically all about the same level. But I assume this means if somebody's not exploring very much, they are likely to have probably found at least one new piece of armor from any given slot, even if they're from different sets.
That's fair.
By this point. because some people will kind of rush through a little bit more, and you can explore back later, but like, you know, this means you still get some stuff as you
It is a
progress.
difficult decision.
As
one
long
I
as you
cannot
open
make
a
alone.
couple of chests and find a
Must be
couple
back
of
in the hands of
puzzles,
one wiser than
you know,
I.
even if you aren't like finding every single thing.
No, Robert, not you.
So,
Then who?
because I'm not a big fan of the arbitrary level scaling, even if it is
Let this be
material based.
decided by combat.
When it's just like a raw
Surely
multiplier,
God will side with the one whose cause is righteous.
and even in a game like this, kind of this sort of MMO-ish, like, you know, stat creeping
It
thing,
is.
you know, it's not my favorite.
So be
Yeah, the only way that sort of arbitrary thing works is when you've got materials or some other way of using the arbitrary system to inject world building into it. Like finding Dragon Bone in Dragon Age, to bring up the same example as earlier, that tells you people craft with Dragon Bones, and Dragon Bones are really tough. That informs something interesting about the setting. You believe dragons can be legendary because their bones themselves turn into some of the top tier gear in the game.
Yeah.
It serves the tier serves a point to the world building, and that's what justifies those sort of systems. When they fail to do that, is when it feels arbitrary.
I think there is some of that because, like I said, the early stuff is kind of generic, but I think they are kind of more directly tied into the Norse mythology of the game as you get like actual. Because like the early stuff's fun, you know, it's just stuff you wear while you're playing through to give you some progression. But like as you get to the later game, my understanding is like I don't know the details. I haven't looked up like stuff specifically, but I think there's like a set of armor that's like Tyr's Glory or something. That's like the first like good one halfway through the game that starts being like worth upgrading and holding on to. And like using heavily and stuff like that. It's like, okay, like a breakpoint like that, if it like you know, you put on like Tyr's Glory armor and it's just massively better than everything you've seen before that, that's fine. Yeah. You know. So like I said, I can't guarantee because I haven't progressed all the way through it, but like the vibe I don't like the vibe of it with the early stuff. Because I was just like holding on to like the starter armor that made flavor sense to me, the Death's Bow armor, which is like a slightly modified version of your starting gear that is Morning armor. And I put that on, and I just kind of left that because none of the other stuff really had individual stats that I cared about more than the starting stats. Okay. Or felt like a meaningful upgrade. I didn't really like the looks of them quite as much. Once I kind of got to a point where it started getting a little bit harder and harder whenever I like did optional content stuff. And that's when I learned, oh, it's not just the stats on the armor, the fact that the two armor pieces... Because I'm like, oh, this is like 10 strength, 5 defense, and I got other stuff that's like, oh, 8 runic, 8 cooldown. It's like, okay, that's the same like stat total, you know. So I didn't change any of it, but I found out, oh, you know, the stat totals look exactly the same on comparison, but some of these other ones are like level 2.5 instead of level 1, and equipping them thus just makes you take less damage, even though they don't have they have a lower defense stat, because it raises your character level, you know, and that I didn't like as much, you know.
Yeah, not for a God of War game.
Yeah.
Like when I think God of War, I don't think all of Kratos' power comes from the fact he was heavily armored, wielding an axe. Like that's not what I imagined for Kratos' source of power.
Yeah.
I always thought it was his ability to murder people.
Well, the thing is, I do still feel a lot of parts of this that do really give me the classic God of War vibes to some degree or another.
I mean,
still.
I've heard almost nothing but good things about the game.
Basically just some of the RPG elements feel a little awkward, and for all I know, they feel better later in the game or in the sequel of this era here. I haven't got part of Stone Tree yet. The armor thing doesn't throw me off, but other than armor, all of the other stuff you use, it feels more meaningful and relevant. Like obviously, you know, you have your one axe, that's your special magic axe that you collect, you know. You do get upgrades for it, gain access to higher tiers, unlock new skills, you know. Okay. And buying new moves for your axe, that's a God of War thing. It feels good, you know. Learning, you know, cool new shit you can do with your weapon, awesome. Unlocking a new tool or weapon in your arsenal.
Enough of the
awesome.
milquetoast RPG stuff.
Your scheme.
What's a hill,
like you,
a God of War
to
hill
rest.
you would die on? What's an opinion you hold that you would fight for?
It's really weird that Kratos keeps tearing off so many heads.
Thank you. Finally, something you care about. How much head does Kratos remove?
I'm on the 4th game, and in every single game he has wielded a decapitated head. This is the only one where it's not a weapon, but it is still carried around as a central plot item, so I think that's close enough. And that just feels like a really weirdly specific thing to have happen in every single game.
None may live who carry the secret. Give me his name.
That's the big one.
Oh, but you know him well.
I don't
And
think
I doubt
necessarily you
very
need to
much
have
he'd
like
take his life
a big
as
thing, but that's what
willingly as
Taylor was
he'd
going
taken
for at
mine.
least for the discussion.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is
Taylor
your
had the stuff
master,
away for a bit.
Yeah.
Al-Mualim.
But he is not a Templar.
Yes.
Did
The
you
broad
ever
thing is
wonder
that's really
how
my
it is
only
you do so
significant
much?
complaint about the God of
Well,
War
to
thing
find
is just the
us
RPG
how many
mechanics.
we number,
Because for the most part,
what we aspire to
I've been
attain.
enjoying it.
He is the master of the assassins.
You know, sometimes it's painful, but it's painful in a way that you're supposed to feel when the characters are being stupid about their relationship, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, the point that's just making me go,
My death.
Kratos, just hug your son already. Just hug him, please, right now.
I mean, to be fair, it's
I've no interest
Kratos.
in
Do
the
you
treasure.
really?
Yeah, like I know, like it's intentional, just like, God, just, he's upset, just hug him, please, just, and he doesn't, obviously, but like, you know, it's the tension, it's the drama, it's intentional for the story and everything. It feels bad, but like in the way it's supposed to, you know?
Kept you safe from harm.
Storytelling that's really good. A lot of the dialogue is really good. You know, the combat does feel cool and fun and interesting, just in a slightly different way to the old games.
And I mean, you're going to have that with any game. There's going to be some things that you just dislike.
Yep.
Well fought, assassin. It seems God favors your cause this day.
God had nothing to do with it. I was the better fighter.
Ah, you may not believe in him, but it seems he believes in you. Before you go, I have a question.
Ask it then.
Why? Why travel all this way? Risk your life 1,000 times, all to kill a single man.
My duty.
Threatened my
It was my
brothers and
quest.
what we stand for.
Ah, vengeance then.
No, not vengeance. Justice. That there might be peace.
This is what you fight for? Peace? Do you see the contradiction?
Some men cannot be reasoned.
Like that madman, Saladin.
I think he'd like to see an end to this war as much as you.
So I've heard, but never seen.
Even if he doesn't say it, it's what the people want. Saracen and Crusader alike.
The people know not what they want. It's why they turn to men like us.
Then it falls to men like you to do what is right.
Nonsense. We come into the world kicking and screaming, violent and unstable.
Philosophy,
It
really.
is what we are. We cannot
Sell
help
this
ourselves.
first game.
No. We are what we choose to be.
You're kind. Always playing with words.
I speak the truth. There's no trick to be found here.
We'll know soon enough. But I fear you cannot have what you desire this day. Even now, that heathen Saladin cuts through my men and I must attend to them. But perhaps, having seen how vulnerable he is, he will reconsider his actions. Yes, in time, what you seek may be possible.
You were no more secure than him. Do not forget that. The men you left behind to rule in your stead did not intend to serve you for longer than they had to.
Yes, yes. I am well aware.
Then I'll take my leave. My master and I have much to discuss. It seems that even he is not without fault.
He is only human, as are we all.
Fundamentally, there were the two big things that made this
as well.
first game popular. Hardcore assassinations and historical philosophy.
Yep.
Didn't Mirror's Edge come out around the same time? Within a year of this one?
I don't know. I would have to look up a timeline, which I will do. The initial Assassin's Creed was 2007. Mirror's Edge was like 2009, I think.
I thought it was 08, but... Of course I thought
2000
Creed was 06.
Late 2008, early 2009, depending on platform. So we were both big.
I said get up, goddammit! Listen.
Oh no.
Seems your assassin friends found us.
What?
How'd you do it, Desmond?
Hey, look, I don't know what you're talking about, but whatever's going on down there has got nothing to do with me.
They're here for you, and I sure as shit didn't invite them.
I like the little blinking red alarm light.
What's the situation down there?
We're taking heavy fire.
Can you contain it? Or do I need
I
to
feel like
evacuate
this
the
is the
prisoner?
game where Desmond looks the least like Altair.
We've got them outnumbered.
To the bathroom!
Wounded, but we'll pull through. We'll get it under control.
God damn you, Desmond. You couldn't leave well enough alone.
I told you I had nothing to do with this. How would I even contact them? Telepathy? Come on.
Doesn't matter. They'll
he
be
do
dead
that?
soon enough.
You can't.
Here, have a listen.
With this series, I genuinely don't know where the psychic powers end.
But you definitely would not have been
Looks
able to do
like
it
the
this way.
cavalry
Oh, yeah, no,
won't be
this one.
coming.
I know you could read my
freaking out a
thoughts,
minute ago.
Desmond.
The little research facility not as secure as you thought it was? Worried they'll be back with more?
I don't think so, Desmond.
What Lucy here is trying to say is that there aren't any assassins left to come for you. We've been very busy this past year, hunting down your
Didn't you
little
just say they're
enclaves,
here
your
for
desert
you?
But
colonies and
the
whatnot.
little radio thing is like, we took
I'm
care of them.
afraid you're on your
I
own.
believe that's what that was.
Rest up, Mr. Miles. Tomorrow, we finish this.
I'm assuming that's what it was.
Imagine
because
if we
I didn't quite hear it.
I really wish they'd come up with some sort of answer in gaming to not being able to hear what's
Some
going
sort of
on.
way to display the information that dialogue would give you, perhaps in the form of text.
Yeah,
or
if they'd come up with
images,
something like
perhaps.
that, I bet this would have been Game of the Year.
Wasn't it actually
Okay.
Game of the Year?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Of course,
Okay,
you
it
know,
might not have been the best hill to die
A
on.
lot of games will say they're game of the year, and sometimes they're even telling the truth.
Well, they were a game of that
You
year,
mentioned the desert. Do you think...
most of the
We
time.
sent a team there, but the place was deserted. I don't know where your parents are, and I can't promise they're still alive. But I think they got away.
Thanks. Thanks for checking.
It's not as bad as it seems.
What are you talking about? They just killed, literally killed, my only chance of getting out of here. And then I find out the assassins are all but destroyed, and Christ, I still don't know what these people are planning. But I do know they plan to kill me when they're done. I am screwed, okay? What do you want me to do?
Just try and have a
That
little
was very
faith.
emotional, Desmond. Thank you for sharing your feelings. I
You're...
appreciate your clarity of communication.
Have faith. Rest up, Desmond. You're gonna need the energy.
Also a fair point. Except for one thing. One thing you got wrong, lady. There's no energy mechanic in this franchise, idiot. You have unlimited stamina. Get dunked on.
You're going to have a bad time.
I love how they just have the laziest.
Birds are singing.
The next one.
The sun is
A lot of
shining.
games do that.
The
A
sun
lot
is
of games do
shining.
that.
Birds are singing.
so
On a day
calm,
like
Mr.
this,
Miles.
assassins like you
Today
should
is
be
a
in the
historic
Animus.
But every time I see it, my guy, I don't know why, but maybe it's the black background and the white text on this one, but it just feels especially lazy. I think just because I'm used to the later games.
Nah,
I think what instead it feels like to me is
The jankiness sticks
it's
out.
very simple. Read it like a title card in a sitcom.
That's why I laugh.
Yeah, read it like an Always Sunny in Philadelphia title card.
This is
The
now my
gang
chair.
gets stuck in the Animus.
See.
Sorry, the episode just showed up fully formed in my head.
See, your desk is now mine.
I don't think he wants to talk to us.
Too bad. His desk is now mine.
Did you try gentle push?
No, I can't gentle push in as Desmond.
Ah, he hasn't figured it out
The
yet.
advanced technique of the assassins. Because you gotta remember, we had to learn all kinds of basic things like how to throw knives and how to tackle. Desmond is going to learn gentle push as the final ultimate capstone to his new game abilities.
I've said it before, but not on this stream. The fact Altair was perfectly willing to just pretend he doesn't know how to do all of this stuff because an assassin of his rank wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
Remains the funniest thing in this game.
I mean, it's like, yeah, honestly, it's a good thing I've learned self-control.
By throwing a knife, or pushing somebody off the
Like,
roof, or
that's what
performing
makes it so
stealth
funny. He's probably the only video game character I could 100% believe would do that.
Yeah.
Where's everyone?
No, Samus Aran.
Was it the Templars?
Metroid Death Ram.
Again?
Yeah, no.
Literally, hey, you're not authorized to use your
What are you
gear.
talking
Okay,
about?
turns off literally every single piece of
like-
Metroidvania
Speak
equipment.
sense.
Well, so there is an explanation for most of them.
Yeah, usually it's damaged,
You've lost
but
your
in
mind.
other M's specifically.
Well, no,
it's-
I'm talking about other ends. There's a reason because there is a protocol when working with the Galactic Federation.
What's he done?
So she had to turn off a lot of her weapon-based stuff. The problem we ran into a lot of her defensive-based stuff, which she also turned off for no reason, just for game progression.
I feel like you have strong opinions about Other M.
I actually, okay, There's a lot of problems with Other M.
I thought it was okay. I hated the final boss fight. That's all I
The
remember.
final boss fight was a pain.
I thought it was solidly a game people other than me had played.
Like, legitimately, gameplay-wise, I think Other M is honestly very good. There is some jankiness to it, especially with it being only with using a Wii remote. But I think gameplay-wise, it was very solid. I enjoyed it.
I could never figure out Wii remotes.
Yeah,
I found the reason I could never figure out Wii remotes, I have a legitimate excuse, but we were apparently too dumb to figure it out. We had a defective motion sensor strip thing. Ours, the one that came with our Wii that we got the day the Wii came out, was defective, and we never realized it. We never replaced it. We played with the same thing for like a decade.
But yeah, so the other thing with Other M is story-wise, I think story-wise it was fine. I think it really could have done a lot better. There was a lot that could have been very much tweaked. I would say that even though the English dub from a dialogue standpoint is not that great compared to at least the Japanese version, where they did a much better job with the dialogue, I think the voice acting was actually fine.
Well, okay.
Okay,
I have one question that determines whether or not it's an okay translation. Did they make any Hamilton jokes?
No.
I think it's probably fine then.
This was before,
See? By definition, all translations before Hamilton was released are fine.
Okay.
By this particular framework.
Anyway, favorite Metroid?
Honestly, at this
I
point,
like Metroid Prime 3.
like, after playing Metroid Dread, I would probably say Metroid Dread.
I have heard Metroid Dread is fantastic. I have not personally played it.
Like, beforehand, it was Metroid Fusion, which, hilariously enough, is why, like, if anyone's ever played Metroid Fusion and Metroid Dread, they would know exactly why I would probably pick Metroid Dread now. Because for a long time, it was Metroid Fusion, even though I had only played the game once for, like, a long time.
To be fair, that can go a long ways into making the game seem top tier.
Well, yeah, well, but I replayed Metroid Fusion, like, about a year ago. Still enjoyed it.
Nice.
I had a great time.
Hold up, well?
I would say there's definitely some things that could have been done better, but I overall very enjoyed it. And then I went straight into playing Dread because I did own Dread, and it's like, okay, well, Dread is literally like pretty much right after Fusion.
Makes sense.
Not like pretty much. There's like
the next game in the timeline.
It's the next game in timeline. I think there's like a couple months between the games.
Honestly, I never really played much of the classic 2D Metroids.
Those are the only ones I've got much experience with, to be honest.
Funny enough, I've not actually really. The only Metroid Prime game I've ever played was 1.
So I played. I don't think I personally finished 1, but I played like the first half of it, and my brother finished most of it, and I played like at the end of his save a lot. So I have beaten the final boss a couple of times. I just didn't do all of the work to get there. But my understanding is the final boss is much harder than most of the things that come before it. So
yeah, that's it. I played bits and pieces over the years. Metroid 1, when you got that, using this, which game did they combine it with? I think the Majora's Mask fusion I played.
I don't, you're probably thinking of Link to the Past.
Yes, I am. I'm definitely thinking.
Wait, if you're talking about the original Metroid, then it was probably the first Legend of Zelda.
I'm thinking of one of them.
Yeah. It would have been Super Metroid and Link to the Past.
One of the Zeldas got stapled to one of the Metroids, and I played through those, but I hadn't actually played that Metroid beforehand, so it was really confusing randomizer.
Yeah, no, that was Super Metroid and Link to the Past.
That's the one I played.
Yeah, I like Super Metroid. Super Metroid is very good.
I played like part of Super Metroid on the console, but I never finished it.
Yeah, the wind is weird in this country.
I think I also played
those guys just floated.
I know, right?
I played some of one of the other Metroid games on the like Switch, retro game past stuff. I don't remember what it's called right now. I don't remember which one it was though.
Visa?
No.
Are you talking about Nintendo Switch Online?
Yeah, the Nintendo Switch Online thing where they've got like the collections of free as long as you're
Yeah,
part of the pass and stuff.
Yeah, Nintendo Switch Online.
It's basically like the equivalent to Virtual Console, but it's more of like a
it's the Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, it's a library of old games that you can access as long as you're currently subscribed.
Yeah, it's a Nintendo Switch Online.
Yes, well, I'm saying in comparison to Virtual Console, which is similar but different.
I get it.
The point being, I played like a little bit of Metroid game on there, but what I always played the most of was the Prime games.
picked a fine time to
I
arrive.
played,
So
I think only half of Prime 2
Guard
also.
yourself well, friend.
But the one that I
Unwelcome has
did
betrayed
all
us.
play all the way
Yes.
through, and it was actually the first Metroid game I ever really
Templarize
played,
as well.
other than like,
How do you know?
you know, a couple
After we
hours of
spoke, I
Super
returned to the
Metroid
ruins
when I was
beneath
younger,
Solomon's temple.
was Metroid Prime 3,
Robert had
Corruption.
kept a journal, filled its pages
That one
with
I
revelations.
did play and beat, and then I eventually
What I
went back
read
to
there
play
broke
1 and
my
2
heart.
afterwards on Virtual Console.
But it also opened
Because we
my eyes.
got Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii at
You
some
were
point.
right, Altair. All along, our master has used us.
So,
Yeah.
We were
I
not
at some
meant to
point
save
played
the
other
Holy Land, but deliver it to
Then
him.
I played through the original
must be
Metroid. I played
stopped.
through part
Be
of
careful, Malik.
the original
What he's
Metroid
done to the
2.
others, he'll do to us given a chance.
I played through the
You must
remake
stay
of
far from
Metroid 2, which honestly
would you
I really
propose?
loved.
My blade arm is still
I guess
strong
by
and
the
my
way,
men
things by
remain my
Metroid.
own.
I guess
would
Prime
be a
3
mistake
and
not to
Other
use
End
us.
were the only Metroid games I've ever beaten.
Distract these thralls then.
Fair.
Assault the fortress
And
from
of those, I
behind.
like Prime 3.
If you can draw their attention away
Well,
from me,
now that we're in the end game
I
on
might
this
reach
one,
Muallim.
I will do as you ask, Dai.
thoughts on the
Amendment
Assassin's
phase.
Creed 1
Their
experience
minds are not their
in
own.
the year
If you can
2024?
avoid killing them,
Well, I'll tell you what.
Yes.
It's been fun playing it. Like
Though he
when
has
I
betrayed the
and
tenets of the creed,
again,
it
like
does not mean we
overall,
must
it's just
as
been a fun time playing
I
it,
do what
and
I can.
it's all I ask.
I definitely enjoy kind of like looking through
Safety and
everything,
peace, my
especially
friend.
since I didn't.
Your presence
I just
here will
watched it
deliver us
before,
both.
so.
The blood of the Creed.
How'd the gameplay stack up?
I mean, it is janky, but like,
I remember that.
I was right on that front.
but like, I don't think it's bad.
You have kind of experience with the I had to where it's like very difficult to get away without spending a long time fighting sometimes, especially once we get into this latter portion of the game, right? Because that's the biggest thing I remember about it was definitely just you start, you escape after like doing a story mission and you have to like, get away and get back to the Assassin Bureau, and it just takes forever sometimes.
In this last bit, I was surprised by how many visible walls there were.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more of a scripted section, I guess.
So many
They do it a
enemies.
lot less in the later games, though. You
Yeah,
have a lot
I
more
remember that.
creativity in how you respond. Like, what is it, Dishonored? That one, the levels are open to you. Assassin's Creed does
Still push.
the same thing as the
Gentle
games go
push.
on. if I
Enjoy it
remember
because you may never gentle push again.
That's true.
correctly. Yeah.
Yep. We should do Dishonored sometime.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
We can all shout at each other about how to solve problems. While also knowing. Ancestor's memory synchronized, now recording.
Yep.
That's the official notice we're hitting the end
Yeah.
of the game in the Animus's terms.
They finally have the members.
Because lore-wise, literally this was the only thing they wanted to see.
I've never been one to run.
Never been one to listen either.
I still live because of it.
What will I do with you?
Let me go.
Oh, Altair. I hear the hatred in your voice. Feel its heat. Let you go? Now that would be unwise.
Why are you doing this?
I found proof
Proof of what?
that nothing is true. And everything is permitted. Come. Destroy the betrayer.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, man?
Kind of a shitty name drop.
Yeah.
It was a really weird time to include the thing.
Like, it sort of fits.
It just felt a little forced to me. is all.
It fits in the, like, corny 80s movie kind of way, you know?
Well, yeah, because the meta plot reason for this is this scene here from that moment onward is the entire reason we're doing any of this. We just had to watch all of the rest of it to synchronize the memory to be able to watch this.
Yep.
Which is the meta plot point they will continue to use in all of the future games as well.
Honestly, it was a really interesting idea when they first dropped it.
I guess some of the later ones it fudges that a little bit. Sometimes there's a lot of memory and we have no way of knowing where it is. We're just going to pick one and just go from there. I think is kind of what happens.
Because in earlier games, or in earlier stuff that did the genetic memory idea, you don't really see, it doesn't normally get married to technology. Like, the quintessential example is obviously Dune. And in Dune, it's all biological and weird psychic powers because they have a huge taboo against technology. Where in this one, maybe it's because I've been reading the Big Book of Cyberpunk, but it feels like Assassin's Creed sort of does the cyberpunk thing of the technology doesn't change the humans using it. At least not directly. They're still fundamentally human, and that's kind of the whole problem. I don't know how the ancient aliens drop into it, but...
Ancient aliens. It's all true.
Damn, this is a powerful artifact. He can cast a 2nd level spell.
I just realized that was him. The reason he did that was the assassin symbol that he was forming out of the clones.
Yep.
Right as we went into the fight. Sick symbolism, bro.
Time to beat up the entire order.
They did lose a little bit of the symbolism, aggressiveness in some of the later games. Some of them were very good about it though. Some of them definitely.
Like, I think one of my, probably the most cyberpunk thing in the entire series,
knock you over like that,
is the fact that by the events of Black Flag, they turned the Animus into a vacation.
It's your sick video game.
Yeah, like, that is the most cyberpunk thing the entire series handled.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Apparently Altair never died.
Mm-hmm. It's just
doesn't explain why he was a successful assassin.
Yeah, it was just kind of rough because they kept hitting me.
Yeah, they're more aggressive than basically everyone.
But of course, when a final boss fight is difficult, then I think this is there might be like another round or two of stuff.
It's the final boss fight. It might not be the final phase.
Yeah, that's kind of what
Like because I'm pressing the dodge button at times, it's not dodging.
Yeah. I think because each of these guys kind of count as more of an enemy, so they are a little harder to disrupt than some others. But there's only one way to solve this. We just have to crank up the difficulty when we play Assassin's Creed 2. If we're always playing on the hardest difficulty, then we will truly be ready from synchronizing with the memories of the assassins.
Yeah, but it'll be 3 people synchronizing with at least 3 different people.
Yeah, and together we will be the best assassin. They'll never see it coming.
This feels like a Netflix special.
Probably is.
Yeah, sure. I'll accept that in my worldview.
Have you any final words?
You lied to me. Called Robert's goal foul when all along it was yours as well.
I've never been much good at sharing.
You won't succeed. Others will find the strength to stand against you.
And this is why, so long as men maintain free will, there can be no peace.
I killed the last man who spoke as such.
Bold words, boy. But just words.
Then let me go. I'll put words into action. Tell me, Master, why did you not make me like the other assassins? Why allow me to retain my mind?
Who you are and what you do are twined too tight together. To rob you of one would have deprived me of the other. And those Templars had to die. But the truth is, I did try. In my study, when I showed you the treasure. But you are not like the others. You saw through the illusion.
Illusion?
That's all it's ever done. This Templar treasure, this piece of Eden, this word of God. Do you understand now? The Red Sea was never parted. Water never turned to wine. It was not the machinations of Iris that spawned the Trojan War, but this! Illusions! All of them!
What you plan is no less an illusion. To force men to follow you against their will.
Is it any less real than the phantoms the Saracens and Crusaders follow now? Those craven gods who retreat from this world that men might slaughter one another in their names? They live amongst an illusion already. I'm simply giving them another. One that demands less blood.
At least they choose these phantoms.
Or do they?
Instead, being forced
Aside
to.
from the occasional convert or
I do
heretic.
love the complete reversal of
right.
the roles between the two characters.
Yep.
And now
When the
logic
start
has
Altair
left
is the one in the wrong,
Yeah.
find the
Makes
code
you
and he's the
embrace
guy
emotion.
upholding it.
Yep.
And now you've turned it around.
What's to be
So it
done?
kind of feels wizard battle-y
You will
almost
not
between the
follow
two of
me,
them throughout the game.
and I cannot
Where he's the one defending the creed
to give up
and
this
this is the
evil
guy who's
scheme.
fallen away from it.
Seems then we are at an impasse.
Unfortunately, he's not
No,
as good at forgetting
we are at an
random
end.
tricks like countering.
I will
Yeah.
miss you out
So
there. You
they
were
only
my
have one way to
very
deal with
best
him.
Student. Blind, Altair. Blind is all you've ever been. All you'll ever be.
Alright, where are you?
You know, I wonder if the reason it looks like this is because we're interpreting the effects of the Golden Apple through the Animus, or if it's because the Animus is designed based on what they learned from a piece of Eden. Like, does the Animus look like a piece of Eden? Like the way that the Animus effects manifest in the game, right?
Or is it simulating a piece of Eden?
Yeah, basically, because like, you know, this looks very similar to like invisible walls and like Animus effects in almost to me. And basically my thought on that is, okay, this is essentially when we see this could be how the Animus is just rendering what the piece of Eden did in memory. This is how we're interpreting it. Or it could be that the way the Animus looks is the same as the way the pieces of Edens look in use.
I always interpreted this as more the Animus interpreting it because it's not because gold is very the color gold is very tightly wound up in all of that technology, even in the like newest games.
Well, I see if I tried though.
It kind of looks like yours. Oh, it's just the window. That's the document. This game.
Let me in.
Let me in.
So I always interpreted this as more the Animus just failing to keep up. But anytime it's the gold, anytime it's got the like chemical formulas, that sort of thing, I interpreted that as piece of Eden stuff. Because that ties more in with the technologies it's displayed in later games.
Oh, you're actually good. I didn't realize that.
I see.
I thought you were still in that area.
Whoa!
That's the power of Eden!
that apple is more powerful than even we could have foreseen.
Okay.
Holy!
Sure.
It's a superhero setting. I did not know that.
Save us!
I guess it explains the creeps actually.
But yeah, so essentially I think this could be, it could have been interpreted potentially either way. The Animus is a pretty crazy piece of technology, right? The
But
Animus
this
is
one especially is especially glitchy now.
Yeah, but yeah, the Animus in general though, it's able to...
Yeah,
I mean, part of it is the nature of the other stuff here, but...
Oh, you went?
The Animus is able to look back and see these and uncover truth from like thousands of years ago. And, you know, as we find out later, the Animus is able to kind of...
Okay, it's worth noting.
But not quite.
It's worth noting, at least at this point with the Animus, I don't know if future Animuses get around this limitation, but they aren't like, they're just retrieving information that's already been intentionally encrypted for them.
Yeah.
They're the key to a lock that they were designed for.
Yes, but...
So what they pull out of the Animus is not necessarily going to be as impressive, or it's going to necessarily, is necessarily going to be more impressive than what it'd be able to achieve via simple simulation. The hard evidence of everything people are looking for.
Use Eagle Vision to make him do his build still.
Well,
it could be that flicking it on is what made him show up down there the last time.
Well, I thought oh, there he is.
He might just move.
Yeah, that's not possible. I just thought that made sense. Okay.
Well,
we avoided instantly ragdoll.
Cuts through the darkness.
he lost the Kryptonian symptom.
That is true, but at the same time, the major to use the metaphor, you know, this is the piece a lot. is that the major lock of relevance of 3, the key to that is also obesity.
I mean, I'm not denying that the Animus is created using beast feeding technology.
Basically, that's just my thought. It is, even if it's still accessing retrieved information, it's very powerful beyond the scope of most stuff we see, which could just be like, the regular science fiction glue. But given how interwoven they are in the stories, it wouldn't surprise me.
All I was denying was any assumptions we can make based purely on the data the Animus gives us, because at least in Desmond's storyline, that's the only part of that I was denying. We can't actually be certain any of the evidence we get is actually the evidence we think it is, or feeds.
Considering that worked.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that worked, but I'm gonna laugh again, so...
I mean, hey, it all makes sense. The throwing knives were one of the things he took away from us at the beginning of the game. When he bounced us back down to the initial trainee level. He was trying to deprive us of the one weapon that can stop him. The ability to throw
there he is. Where'd you go, bud?
Well, Picky clipped our most impressive death of this playthrough.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I'm really glad. I want to watch. I would love to rewatch that.
Yeah. Enjoy your lurking.
Thanks for being here.
Bye, Apple.
Impossible. The student does not defeat the teacher.
Then fall.
الشيء واقع مطلق بل كل ممكن.
When are we getting that Assassin's Creed?
So it seems.
Dude, Assassin's Creed Brutus
Won then.
would be amazing.
Go and claim your prize.
Straight legit.
Dude, honestly, just an assassin during the Pax
Should
Romania.
have been destroyed.
I feel like you could have so much
The
good
only
story.
thing capable of ending the crusades
could totally have
and creating
Jinke.
true peace?
Jinkai would be cool.
Never.
Then I will.
Oh god, you'd have...
We'll see about that.
You could have Nero's full, terrible neckbeard.
My heart to know wisdom. And to
Oh
know
boy.
madness and
Here we go.
I perceive that this also was
See,
a chasing after wind.
This is why I always use Android products. They never do that.
Because, in a way,
Hey,
I can
look,
understand
it's a map.
they tend to use whole cloth creations for assassins for the most part. I think like there's been some spin-off stuff that's like implied they're like other identities of like famous people or whatever.
I mean, Ezio's the main character of Machiavelli's Prince. He's the guy it's based on in the Assassin's Creed universe.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying like usually like direct like famous well-known assassins.
Of course, Japan has a good speed.
Yeah.
Don't tend to be tied into this stuff. But that doesn't mean they couldn't do it. Very least, I can easily see a spin-off where you play as like
Hey, it took you guys long enough.
a famous assassin culminating in a famous assassination.
That would be pretty cool. I could also see training a famous assassin. You play at the start of the game. You're putting them through the ropes, and the game skips forward 5 or 10 years, and you see them actually as a full-fledged assassin carrying it out, and you're in the background assisting on
At
it.
least half a dozen.
I can see him doing it that way too.
Being
We should
specifically
assume
having your
some amount
mentor
of
be
decay. I
the real
can't imagine
historical
they'll all
figure.
still be
Fair.
functioning.
Your assassin
At least
professor
two
in
appear to
Brutus,
reside on land masses that no longer exist.
teaching you the art of backstabbing, and sidestabbing, and front stabbing.
These guys are the masters
What
of
about the rest?
backstabbing.
Collect them.
True.
Let's not leave anything to chance. Last thing we need is some damn survivor making trouble for us in the new world.
And the assassin?
We have what we need. Kill him.
Wait. You know how these things work. I doubt we'll be able to walk right in.
What's your point?
We might need him. His memories. I'd recommend we hold him until we have confirmation that there aren't any surprises waiting for us at the sites.
This is a waste of time.
You said it yourself. We shouldn't leave anything to chance.
Very well. Ensure we have no further need of him, then kill him.
Fine. Stop undermining my authority.
I think
I
that's
just saved
literally
your
the
ass.
closest we ever come to beheading
Let's
Esther.
go. We've got a
Asbestos.
lot of work to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't get too comfortable, Mr.
That was the
Miles.
CEO.
We'll be
If
back
only
for
we
you
had
soon
all of
enough.
our assassin skills
think
we're going to have in the
canonically that's the
future,
CEO.
we could have dove through that window and shanked all 3 of them.
What the hell is that?
Hell yeah.
Woo! Time for Eagle Vision.
I think everyone who's ever played this game can relate to this one moment.
Yeah.
Because coming out of a video game to find out you have the video game superpower is something we all wanted when we were like 6.
Mm-hmm. Look at all of this.
Man, if only I could read. My suggestion is we follow that big arrow that was pointing that way.
That'd be silly. We gotta investigate the important shit, like these triangles.
Yeah, right?
That's what this is about. Triangles.
Love me some triangles.
Yeah, it seems...
Love me pints. Love me mates.
Augmented reality game, specifically like Secret World style.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
An Assassin's Creed game where you can literally find shit in real life related to it.
Yep.
I bet they tried to do like an ARG phone game.
I bet they have, and I bet it was definitely terrible. But imagine one of those that was actually like good. Like, remember in the Secret Worlds when
Secret World was awesome.
When you and our friend got sent to hell and we were frantically flipping through a Bible trying to find the scriptures we needed to get out of, and I repeat, actual hell.
There we go.
God. It looks like... Is that blood? What the hell were they keeping here before me? And what happened to them?
The Animus?
What does it mean, I wonder?
I entered the abyss.
Entered the abyss and never returned.
Makes sense.
And there we go.
Alright. The end.
And that was Assassin's Creed 1. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Go, yeah.
Unless there's a...
I don't think there's a...
Assassin's Creed Go. That guy? Kill him. Kill him now.
I don't think there's a post-credit cutscene.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're going to let the credits run, just in case.
As Robert once said, they work very hard. We're going to appreciate them.
Keep wandering around.
Oh yeah, you can keep wandering around. For as long as you want, I believe.
I mean, after the credits, I think if we wander around.
Oh, maybe.
Of course, I haven't seen this game end since like
yeah, I don't think there's any.
The year it released.
But yeah, so
that was Assassin's Creed 1.
Honestly, that took us less time than I expected.
Yeah.
I was expecting us to probably.
I thought there was a little bit more left.
I thought we might run. I thought we might run a little bit over our regular time trying to get through the last cutscene or two.
Yeah, because I thought because I thought there was one more theme, and then we had the whole end theme plotline stuff.
I could have like I forgot that it was the girl, but I could have sworn that's the events of that scene. The parts I remembered at least happened earlier in the game.
Yeah.
I thought that was like an Act 2 twist, not an Act 3 beginning.
See, this is something that I was kind of worried on because essentially the dividing line between the outside world segments of 1 and 2 is not where I think it is, and it never is. Every time it happens, it's not where I thought it is.
Fair.
2 starts relatively... Because, like, I always envisioned, like, 2 is happening after, you know, we're no longer, like, here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case. You were still here until, like, halfway through 2.
Yeah.
But it feels like you would divide the Ezio thing the same time you divide your To a Noose Pointed Desmond story as well. But they're kind of staggered, which is the thing that makes it throw you off.
Which honestly makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I thought that Desmond's, I thought Ezio's first time skip, is that what you're referring to?
Well,
the first few year time skip? Because I thought that was the cutoff point where they leave and head to the new location.
Maybe. But basically, I always feel like that should happen when you switch from Altair to Ezio, in my mind of how the plotline plays out here. Which is why I was expecting that to be something that happened like right about now. Even knowing that didn't happen, like I forgot, and I was like, oh yeah, that's about to happen. Nope.
That's fair. I knew this one ended with Desmond still in here.
Yeah.
So in my head, it's always been, as soon as Ezio finishes the tutorial, Desmond gets fired.
Could be.
Non-fatally.
Or very fatally, depending on...
Give it time.
Depending on how you feel about it. And how good you are at video games.
I am very good at video
It's
games.
very funny.
I run away like a little sissy baby.
When you're in a game
Effective.
like this that uses
Giant tree
part of an
tactic.
abstraction of the system, right? Where like you're dying in the enemies, you desync and stuff like that. It's very interesting to see how it handles outside of its own internal framework like that. Like in 3, there's some platform sections where it is technically possible to fall to your death as Desmond just in the hub zone.
Yeah.
Because you're just like in a building doing the enemies thing, and like you can explore, and it is very possible to just like fall off a ledge and die.
Plus,
and
you
the
come
game
back
just-
here at one point.
And it's
If I
just,
remember correctly, it's just
Yeah,
it's the same building.
Yeah.
and it's just very interesting to see how that's handled. Which like reminds me like that's what the Outer Wilds one. This is like a pretty much on because we were talking. Time loop stuff does exist.
Yeah.
But the time loop is engaged by proceeding through the tutorial. It is possible to die before that happens.
That's great.
Which hard resets you back to the beginning.
That's pretty
because you did not start time looping yet.
Yeah, one thing I always find...
There's also some of the special circumstances that cause
on that sort of
game hard
note,
resets rather than
I always find it funny when a game has like, no, you can't. You can definitely die in the tutorial, but you're incapable of it.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy X. I think the first time you're able to die in that game is the final battle where you team up with Riku.
Oh yeah.
When you're bringing up the airship.
Yeah.
I think that might be literally the first time you're capable of dying.
Nope.
Without killing each other.
Guess what? I know for a fact you're wrong.
At
Because
least among boss fights.
I did die in the tutorial.
Normal enemies can
Yeah,
do
there we
it. Okay, yeah, so you do come back. But in terms of boss fights, it's not until like the 4th or 5th boss fight that you can die. Because the first one only uses Demi, reducing your maximum health, or reducing your health by a percent of your maximum to a minimum of 0. The next 3 scripted fights are scripted to be incapable of killing you unless you attack yourself. So you never even need to heal. They leave out when you're below a certain percent of your health.
The one where you're supposed to like hit the truck, the tanker thing.
Oh,
to explode,
right.
you can die in that. I know because I did. I didn't realize how you were supposed to target the tanker.
I'm just gonna go back into the
So
animus.
I thought it was something that it would give me the option to do later because I didn't understand how to like switch targeting and do special actions.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I just sat there doing it until Hellcat I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't working, and like figured out how to target it, but couldn't do enough hits before I just died from attrition.
I knew you could die then.
And I had to redo the entire tutorial because I
If you
missed the
killed
one save
yourself.
point right before that.
But I didn't remember that you could die without intentionally killing yourself at that point.
Yes, because
I've never...
The first save point is right before that, and I didn't see it. I had to redo the whole damn game.
Because at least on the PS2, maybe they changed it in the Steam version, but on the PS2, they're literally directing you to attack it, including not letting you change to the left on targeting. You have to move to the right to target it, to target the thing they're telling you to.
Yeah, that
the
was
first
not the
time.
case there, at least, because it was technically like the remaster.
Yeah.
10 and
Steam
2
one, yeah.
compilation one. Well, the one I was playing was the PS3 re-release, remaster version, not the Steam one, but I assume it's the same version of the game. Because it didn't really explain how to like select on your menu to like do special actions. I didn't know you could like select special like targeting things special like.
Huh? They must have cut down on the
reaction
tutorial.
stuff or whatever. Or if I did see it, it like didn't parse correctly to me when I was playing. I was a little tired, but like not enough to literally miss it if it forced me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If it said how to do it, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I also didn't realize when I went and replayed the entire game back to that point. Because, again, I missed the one save point before I died in the tutorial. I was very tired.
Okay. But, on that note...
I guess the question here is, do we want to kill some time? Or are we done? That's the question. Literally the question.
I think I'm okay.
You're satisfied with what you've gotten out of this game?
Yeah, I think I'm good for now.
I'm satisfied with my care.
In that case, we can call this one a abbreviated stream a little bit.
Yep, which happens.
We got through to the end. We got
Exactly.
something special planned for next week.
Yeah.
Come back in for what is probably just an average length stream, but we will try and cram value into it. Maybe it'll go over. We will see what happens.
At the very least, it'll be entertaining.
No predictions or promises. And
Yeah,
I guess
I agree.
potentially earlier we were talking about that, but we didn't really come to any kind of we moved on to other parts of the conversation.
Tune in next time.
Yeah, we'll see. We may end up starting earlier than usual, but probably just expect our normal time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but thank you all for joining us, especially for Assassin's Creed.
This was the first game.
All right, see y'all next time.
Don't eat any golden apples. Highly recommend against.
But they'd be really juicy.